today we're going to work on a solo arrangement of Africa by Toto. This was voted on over at my Patreon page, where every month I do a different tutorial based on suggestions and votes of my patrons. So if you'd like to help decide next month's tutorial, be sure to check out the link in the description below. You can also find a download of the tab there as well. But let's go ahead and dive into Africa, and let's start with, honestly, the best part of the song, which is the intro. So it looks something like this, and it's only 2 bars that's repeated. To start this, we're going to play just our index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string. Now we can pluck these 3 strings with our fingers, or we can strum through with our thumb. Either technique works great for this. I find that the picking can give you a little bit more speed though. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play this chord 5 times. Now the rhythm markers here are kind of confusing. Dotted 8th notes, 16th notes. You can count this, but you can also, if you know the song, play to what you hear it. You know that the sound is that sort of vibe. So it's okay to play to what you feel to play this song. So we're going to play that chord, the C, E, and A strings, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here's where it gets really cool. The next part here, the 4 on the C string and the 3 on the E, you're going to take your index finger and you're going to slide it up to the 3 on the E. And this is a very important step. You're then going to actually bar it across the E and the A strings there on the 3rd fret. I know the A string's not played yet, but it will make the next chord much easier. The next step here is taking your middle finger and placing it on the 4th fret of the C string. So this right here is what we play just on the 4 on the C and the 3 on the E. We're not playing the A yet. We play just those 2 notes. And the reason for this is if you look at the next thing that's played, it's a 4 on the C, 5 on the E, and 3 on the A. You just take your ring finger, add it to 5 on the E string, and your 3 is already there on the A string. And that gives you the rest of that. So that first little part there, just taking us through the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chords, should look something like this, where it goes. Pretty cool, right? You can see that we're kind of building these shapes with our hand. Now, to finish the intro, we've got a little filler here. And it's really important to know that this is just filler. So if you play this next part really loud, it's not going to sound very good and like the song enough. But it's going to start with just holding that same shape that we were playing before, playing the 5 on the E string, and then starting in measure 2 here, 4 on the C, 5 on the E, 4 on the C, 5 on the E, 4 on the C, 5 on the E, 4 on the C, 5 on the E. Now that sounds really boring, right? Well, it does especially sound boring if we play it really loud. But really all that this is meant to do is to fill some space that the rest of this part has. So if we listen to the whole intro now, it sounds something like this. Right? So you hear how I play that other part a little bit quieter, and that makes it a nice little filler. And the intro is just those 2 bars repeated. So that's a really fun part to play. Honestly, if that's all you play of this tutorial, awesome. It sounds so good, right? Pretty cool. So now from here, we go on to the verse, and it gets a little bit more challenging at this point too. Something that I want to make really clear as we're working through this verse is the verse basically plays 4 times, and there's small variations each time. If you look at the tab on screen, you'll notice that I include the lyrics of the song. This is so that we can maintain our sort of integrity of where we're at with the tune, so that we know what part's being played at what time. So all of the rhythm timings, all of the confusing symbolage, if you know the song and you know the words, play to what you know there. Know that if there's ever something played without words, it means it's filler and meant to be played a little bit softer. So if we look here on measure 3, the very first chord that's played, the 0-7-7. To do this, we're going to take our middle finger, place it on the 7th fret of the C, and our ring, place it on the 7th fret of the E, and we're going to play that along with the open G string, nice and quietly because there's no melody. But then we go, I hear the drums echoing in the night. And to do that, we're going to hold this shape, but we're going to add our index finger on the 5th fret of the A string. If this is a tricky stretch for you, try tilting your fingers towards your right shoulder if you're a standard player like me. And that will allow you to get the angle of the fingers underneath. So we play the chord, and then I, and then hear the drums are just the 5 on the A 3 times. Now the next chord here on echo, is going to be taking this same shape and just taking your middle finger, sliding it down to the 6th fret of the C string, which should make your hand go more straight up and down. I mentioned kind of towards the right shoulder, now more straight up and down. And we're going to pluck the C, E, and A strings together there. And that's the word and then go will be the 5 on the A by itself. And then ing to night, how we play this is we add our pinky on 7, and then we slide our pinky up to 9. Now we hold the rest of the chord there so that we have echo, ing, 2. And when we go to night, this is one of my favorite chords on the ukulele. We take our pinky off, we take our ring off, and we take these 2 fingers, the middle here on 6 of the C and the index here on 5 of the A, and we slide them both up all the way to 11 on the C with the middle finger and 10 on the A with the index finger. And now what's really cool about this that you might have already realized is this arrangement sounds good on both high G and low G. So as you're working through this, all of these chords sound a little bit different with each tuning, but I purposely made the arrangement to be completely cross-compatible. They work on both tunings, although it will sound a little bit different, but only good things. So that's the word night. And then we go on to she hears only whispers. This is a cool part. We got to take these fingers off and jet all the way down. Index finger here on 2 of the C and middle finger here on 2 of the A. I'm going to play through all 4 strings. That's she and then hears only. To play that, I'm holding that chord shape, adding my ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the A string, and then my pinky finger all the way up here to the 5th fret of the A string. So she hears only. Now to go to the word whispers, our pinky is going to remain static and the same, and we're going to take the other fingers off and move our index finger down to 1 on the E string and strum through 0 on the C, 1 on the E, and 5 on the A. And that's whis, and then burs will be 3 on the A with the ring finger. Play that again, of, and then the word some, middle finger on 2 of the A, and then qui of quiet, take the index off, leaving the middle where it is. Qui. And then et, take it off, open A. And then con, open A. And then the word ver of conversation. For ver, we're going to take our middle finger and place it here on the 3rd fret of the E string. And the reason for that is the next chord there on say of sation is an E minor chord. To play that E minor, our middle finger is already there on 3 of the E, so we just add our ring finger to 4 of the C, index to 2 on the A. Then we're going to play open on the A, taking off our index finger, and then 3 on the E. Ooh, that's a doozy, right? That's a big line of this verse. But the good news is that's a majority of it. Now, we're going to play through this, but as we go through the next sort of parts of the verse, you'll see that a lot of it's kind of repeated, and that's pretty cool. So here's what the verse should sound like with me saying the words really, really, really slowly. It should be something like this, starting with measure 3. It should go, I hear the drums echoing tonight. She hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. And then shun. So when we go here on to measure 7, you see that shun is the same thing as the first measure of the whole song. In fact, this measure 7 is identical to the first measure of the song in every way, except the end note, instead of playing that little filler note, it just sits on the 4-5-3 chord. So measure 7 is just, and that's it. As we go on to measure 8 and measure 3 are almost the same. We go back up to that 0-7-7-5 chord that we played before, and then she's coming in 12-30 flight, right? It's just different words. I'm sort of struggling remembering the words and the variation there because honestly, I need to listen to the song more. But when you hear the variation, it's just little rhythmic things, right? Going, I hear the drums echoing tonight versus, she's coming in 12-30 flight. It's just a little bit of rhythmic variation. So if you know the words, kind of play to that. So we're there on measure 9, we just played flight, and then it goes all the way back down. Same deal as what we did on measure 4. And that's going to be now moonlit winds, re and and then flecked the stars that guide, what's that? Guide onwards, sail, right? So again, I'm screwing up the words because the font is too small here on my PDF I'm looking at. But you get the gist, right? If you know the words to the song, you can utilize those as you play it. In fact, with this whole second run through, as you're going through, you don't have to worry about playing it exactly the way it's written if you know the song in your head. When you're playing measures 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you are getting sort of the gist of what this should sound like. And when you go now into measures 8, 9, 10, and onwards, it's more of the same with those small variations, right? So here's what measures 7, 8, 9, and 10 sound like with the words. Should be something like this. It should be, say, shun, and then she's coming in 12, 13th flight. Moonlit winds reflect the stars that guide onwards, sal. And from here it goes to salvation, and that's going to be now the start of measure 11, which is very familiar. Same E minor chord we played, and then open A, 3 on the E for bay, and then shun goes back to our little intro phrase. Same thing. So measure 12, we've already played. And it's cool because as you go on here and look at measure 13, it looks familiar again, that same 7/7 shape. And now the words are, I stopped an old man along the way, right? And then hoping to find some. You can see that this is just a continuation of that same part, just with different rhythms to reflect the words, right? And to go off on just a very mini tangent with this, you know, words are so critical to songs, but when we're playing an instrumental, they're really critical to be thinking about, but we can't play them, right? We're playing just notes on the ukulele. So it's more critical that we represent the rhythms of those words as we're playing. And that's why I've included all these variations with this arrangement as you're playing it through. You're getting a good insight to me, though. I don't really think of words a lot when I play. And so a lot of my arrangements of songs that I do when I perform will be sort of more loosely tied. But here on this channel, I try to make them a little bit more literal, a little bit more to the words that are sang by the original artist. And so anyways, we've now gone through way and then hoping to find some. Man, I'm really on with these words, aren't I? Leave a comment below if you're noticing how on I am with these words. But from here, we go on to measure 15. Now, measure 15, it's going to be a lot of the same sort of stuff yet again. We're going to go old forgotten words. And so that's going to be the same 0-1-5 shape that we played before. Goes down to 2, and then on the word words, plays 0-0-2. But this is where it gets a little bit different. It plays 3 on the E, open A, and then 3 on the E. So here on measure 15, what I'd recommend you try doing is the first 3 play with your ring finger, and then play the open A, but then the second 3 play with your middle finger, because measure 16 goes right into a E minor chord for the word mellow. And then on D's, same deal, same stuff. As we go on to measure 18 now, same thing. We have, and then it goes, he turned to me as if to, and that's the same sort of run. This one's a little bit easier rhythm. You'll notice that's just, going through, he turned to me as if to. And so here's what measures 15, 16, 17, 18 sound like, just so that you can hear this kind of going together as we go into 19. So 15, old forgotten words or ancient melodies. And now we go on to 18. He turned to me as if to. And now we go on to 19. We're going to the word say. Still that same high up chord, right? We've learned all this. I think this is the 4th time now that we've played this. Go all the way back down. Hurry, boy, it's. And here's where it gets a little bit different. When it goes, hurry, boy, it's waiting there for you, that's where it sort of is almost like the pre-chorus. And you'll see at the end of this, we're starting the chorus, right? So to play this, we play hurry, boy, it's. And then when we do waiting there for, we're going to be playing that same 0-1-5 shape that we've been playing. But then when we go to the word you, we play 0-1-3 on the C, E, and A with our index on 1 of the E and our ring here on 3 of the A. And then after we play that for the word you, we're going to play a little bit of the riff. We're going to go to the 4 and 3. So I slide my index finger up to 3 on the E string, add the middle finger here to 4 on the C, and then I'm going to play the 4, 5, 3, middle finger on 4 of the C, ring on 5 of the E, and 3 on the A with the index, and the little filler that we did at the beginning of the song. So that is now the end of measure 21, and that goes into the chorus. But just so that we can hear it, here's measures 19, 20, 21, and then we're going to start on the chorus that you can see here on the page. So it goes, say, hurry, boy, it's waiting there for you. Right? And now, as it goes to measure 22, we are starting a new section. So it's sort of a monstrosity, the verse, right? Because it's the same thing over and over with little variations. So when you're working on this, it's okay to practice just the first verse and then get that in your head and then use that and try to sing along with the words and see if you can get those, those messages right that the words are trying to say. It's a lot of fun to tinker with and kind of make your own. But now we go on to the chorus, which is, again, brand new section. To play this, we're going to take our index and we're going to bar it all the way across the 5th fret. We're going to play our C and E strings together. And then we're going to play the 8 on the A. So pinky's going to go out here to 8 on the A. And we're going to play that for gonna take a. And then for the word lot, we take our middle finger. So our index is still barred. Take our middle finger and place it on 6 of the E string. Pluck the C, E, and A strings together. And that's the word lot. And then we're going to play the A 4 more times to drag me a. So the chorus starts with gonna take a lot to drag me a. As we go on now to measure 13, it goes back to the 5-5-5-8. So you take that middle finger off, and that's all 4 strings for way. And then we're going to slide our pinky down to 7, and then play all open with that 7. And that's from you. Alternatively, you can use your ring finger here on the 7 as well. So we have way from you. Now you'll notice there's a 0 on the C and a 0 on the E after the word you. Those are filler because there's no word, so play them nice and soft. Then we go into 24, the 5s on the C and the E strings. No words, so also filler, play it nice and soft. 8 on the A, there's, and then nothing that We're going to play that A several more times for those words. Then hun of 100, we're going to take the middle finger, place it on the 6th fret of the E string, just like we did in the measure before. And that's 100 men or, all 8 on the A. And then 25, we take that middle finger back off, leaving the other 2 fingers where they are. More, could, ev, both 8 on the A. And then we're going to play 7 on the A, all by itself, followed by taking the finger off, all open with the 7 on the A with the ring finger. And then we're going to play filler, open on the C, open on the E. So that whole run, we've got that gonna take me a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. They're basically the same, just with slight rhythmic variations to reflect the words. So if you're thinking of the words, it can really help make sure that you play it correctly. And as we move on now to measure 26, it does the main part of the song in a lot of ways in terms of the name. I bless the rains down in Africa, right? So we're gonna start with I bless the rains down in. To do this, we're going to move all the way down to a D minor chord. To play a D minor, my favorite way is to take your middle finger and bar it across the C and the G strings with the E and A exposed. So you notice how my finger kind of has to come up so that I've got a lot of the fleshy part of the finger coming over to fit it in with my index here on 1 of the E. If this is too tricky for you, it's also okay to use your middle finger here on the G string and then bring your ring finger to 2 on the C. That's totally fine as well. So we're going to play that D minor without the A string. Nice and soft because no melody. And then we're going to play I bless the, just 1 on the E string, played 3 times. I bless the. And then we're going to slide up here, bar across 5 on the C, E, and A strings with your index finger. Then add your middle finger to the 6th fret of the E string. We're going to pluck those 3 strings, and that's the word rains. You hear how bright and nice that sound is. So we have I bless the rains. And we're going to play 5 on the A for down. Leaving the shape where it is, we're going to take our pinky, play 8 on the E string for the word in. So measure 26 sounds something like this. I bless the rains down in. As we go right on Africa, we're going to play 0, 1, 3, 0 on the C string, 1 on the E string with our index finger, 3 on the A string with our ring finger, and then open on the A, and then take your ring finger and place it on 3 of the E. And then there's a filler chord here because we have Africa. Just take your pinky, put it on the 3rd fret of the A, and strike all 4 strings. You can use your thumb going down, your index going down, pluck them, whatever you feel like you like the most. And then it goes on to 25, and it goes back to all that's the same sort of stuff that we're doing just now with another variation to the lyrics. In this case, the variation is gonna take some time to do the, and then things we never. So all of that is exactly the same as what we played on measures 22 and 23, as well as 24 and 25, until we get to the word had. This word had, normally we would play all open with the 7. But this time it's going to play a minor chord. It's going to kind of trick us. And the way that we play this minor chord is we're going to take our index and place it on 7 of the A string, middle finger here on 8 of the E, and ring finger here on 9 of the C. And play the C, E, and A strings together. Then pinky is going to play 10 on the E string, and then the 8 on the E with the middle finger still there. Then we take it all off, and we play all open with 7. And then we play 8 with the middle, and then 7 with the index there. And the last 2 notes here of this measure are going to go to bar across 5. And then it's going to go to our little riff chord that we play in the middle of the intro riff. Middle finger here on 4 of the C, index here on 3 of the E. So that whole measure, or whole stanza, measures 27, 28, 29, and 30 should sound something like this. Africa, gonna take some time to do the things we never had. And you can hear had is sort of the word for that whole thing. It goes, had, right? I will never win any awards for my voice, but you get the gist of that part. So from this point, we are now done with the course and we move on to the outro. And here's what's cool. The outro is exactly the same as the intro. So it's just the same. Same thing. But you notice what it says here is repeat and fade. What that means is play this outro as many times as you want and gradually get softer as you go through it. And eventually there'll be no sound at all. And that's when you stop the whole song. So it might sound something like this. See, I'm getting so quiet that you can not even hear it. You might have been clicking up on your computer speakers there. Sorry if that got too quiet. But there you have it. Africa, one of the coolest songs ever, and I hope that you enjoy this arrangement and it does the song some justice. I actually did a cover of this song on my album Dragonfly, which you can find linked below and everything else, and I featured a very amazing bass player named Daniel Singh, one of my favorite musicians. Check out his stuff if you haven't. I'll try to link some of his things in this description. But it was very, very different working on it on the album versus doing this. On the album, I had the support of the bass and we'd use some percussion and things, so I got to be a little bit more creative. With this, I had to do more things. In some ways, that required more creativity because you have to play all the parts at once. But I think that this arrangement came out pretty nice. It was a lot of fun. So thank you to all my patrons who voted on this song and decided it. Very much looking forward to what you guys will decide next week. So if you're still watching this video, we just hit the 25-minute mark, which is about the length. And so I appreciate all of your support, both watching this video as well as the support on Patreon. Please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is awesome. I'm quite excited about that. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time on the next tutorial we do over here. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. Thanks so much.